Good morning, everybody. I want to direct you to a YouTuber who you may already be familiar with, but if you're not, please visit Iman, who calls herself One Godless Woman. I'll put the link below. She's a Canadian immigrant from Saudi Arabia, a doctor who has taken the role of informing us of the incursions that are happening in Canada to do concerning a certain religion of peace and the inroads that it's rapidly making into our political and social and cultural fabric here in Canada. Um, I'm all for diversity, of course, and the difference is when a culture starts with a project of overwhelming the culture that already exists and conquering it with its own political ideology. So because of free speech, because of hate laws in Canada, it's not practical for me to actually name it here. I'm sure any of you who knows anything about what's going on will know what I mean when I say the religion of peace, which is anything but. Certainly, the radicalization that's taken place is alarming. I mean, back in the early 70s, I traveled through Tehran on my way to India, and none of the young women, they were all going to university, and they were not wearing even a headscarf. That all changed when the Ayatollah came along. And then more recently, when I was a student at a college nearby that was in an area with a very high population of Iranian immigrants, and none of those women wore anything over their heads or to cover their faces. It was just normal, but the world has changed, and it's a very dangerous precedent. I didn't like seeing on a certain newscast, a global newscast, a woman wearing that thing over her head. Come on, you know? Let's just not do that. Anyway, Iman knows of what she speaks, having escaped with her life from a country that was dominated with this ideology. And so, yeah, today I just wanted to make sure that you know about her. And the big piece I forgot to mention, and why this is ever more important now, is you may not be aware. I don't know what's going on in Vancouver because I haven't been there for a long time, but you know, in Halifax and in several cities in Ontario, did you know that that call to prayer is being broadcast over the loudspeakers? They got permission. They had a waiver about the noise bylaw to do that, purportedly during the month of their religious feast. But as we know, this is a huge foot in the door, and it's bound to be pushed further and further. And I think it's outrageous. Can you imagine if, I mean, this would not be allowed for any other minority, any other religion, blaring a call to prayer over the loudspeakers. We're not even allowed to say the Lord's Prayer in our schools anymore. We won't even refer to Christmas as Christmas anymore. And yet we're being subjected to this. It's absurd. It's horrible. So get in touch with One Godless Woman and hear all the details. Hear her story. And thank you. That's all for today.